Trilogy, Monday Night Mass.
So amazing, so amazing.
Well, it's on the ride along, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess you call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Right along live, I mean, yeah, it's the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, one and all. It's Right Along Live for today, Monday on the Ride. Yeah, Monday on the Ride. How you guys doing? Evening to you. Doris, Maureen, Charles, how you doing? Christelle, James. How is everybody doing today? It's Monday, man. It's Monday. Live up the thing. Who's first on the check-in, boy? Deanne Burke Watson. Pick up yourself, Deanne Burke Watson. How you doing? Evening on the Ride. Guys, as you're coming, go ahead and share up the thing. Share up the thing once, share up the thing twice, because today we're going to deal with some pending issues. Yeah. Some pending issues, guys. It's something that we have been following since 2019. This is not new. But apparently, we are at the stage that we are getting some sort of closure to this case. All right? So I want to update everyone about this particular case that we've been working on, give you guys some full updates on it, full clarification. I'm talking about the case involving this young man named Treverson Roberts. You guys remember the case back in 2019 when we broke it right here on Ride Along, right? You guys remember when we broke this case right here on Ride Along? It was, I don't know how to call it. It was terrible, for lack of a better word. But we gonna go back and, you know, give you guys all the updates for what happened then and where we are right now. Because as of recently, guys, we was just in court just a few days ago, and we got a chance to record the audio of the sentencing, and we got to play that back for you as well. Yes. So a lot to discuss. Hey, Yellow Lacey, me say Yellow. I say Lacey, how you doing? Welcome to the ride. Yes. Share the thing. Let me share it up on my page as well, guys. Let me share it up on my page as well. Yes, okay. All right. We ready? Because we got a lot to talk about. And coming up later, we may have Mr. Denison George, who may join us a little while, to give us a further update on this particular case. So let me go back a little bit, guys. Let me go back. In 2019, it was around October of 2019. It was right after we dealt with a previous case involving a young man, where this young man sexually molested an 8-year-old child. So that particular incident happened in early part of October, and we broke the story here on the Ride Along. And just 2 weeks after, I got a call from this young lady who said she wanted to share her story. Now, I remember it was like about 10 p.m. It was late, right? Nevertheless, I sat and I listened to the story. From the minute time that lady started to tell the story, I just had to hold my head with disgust, because knowing fully well we just dealt with a case like that just a few weeks ago, and nothing was done. Absolutely nothing was done at that particular time. So when she started to share the story, I was like, oh Lord, not again. We quickly took action on the case, guys, and we decided to allow the young lady's story to be aired, which I'm going to share it back with you. Hold on. I'm going to share that back with you guys. So let's go back. Before we go forward, let's go back a little bit. This was October of 2019 when we first broke the story. When we first broke the story, guys, October of 2019. I want you guys to take a listen to this.
This guy right here, he's no ordinary guy. His name is Treverson Roberts. His crime? He was found guilty of forcing a 5-year-old child to perform oral sex on him. And if that's not bad enough, the justice system failed us again. I'll tell you all about this story. But listen to the mother account as to what happened in this particular case. Listen very carefully, listen very closely.
He's not going to get away with that. No, I've known this guy for almost 10 years. We've been so much of best friends. Now, whenever this guy come to visit, he would always pay us a visit at home. On September 9th, he came to Grenada. On October 3rd, he visited me in my home. I was home with my son, my 5-year-old son. When the guy came here, I let him know that I have to go collect a package. If it's okay, I leave my son with him for just half an hour to 45 minutes. That's how much I trusted him. We're good friends. We've been good friends, actually. Right? He had no problem because he came here before. He met my cousin, my brother, you know. He's been a friend. I left the child here about 10 minutes past 2 the afternoon just to run down the road to collect some stuff, right? When I got back, I met the child sitting on the couch, and Trevor was also sitting on the couch. The child had a handful of candy. Mind you, my child do not suck candy like that, right? That child had a handful of candy. When I asked why he had so many candies in his hand, you know what was Trevor's response? Leave the child alone. His teeth can rotten twice. Well, I said to him, he doesn't have any teeth in his mouth that's rotten. So I took the handful of candy and threw it away. Whenever I cook, that child would eat. If I buy food, he would eat. He would never refuse food. That day, he refused that food box with food. No, he had like probably 2 fries out of that box, and he never ate anything again. During the nights, about a little bit after 10, the child, I told him it's time for bed, you know, it's time to go to bed. He was acting strange. I asked him the first time, what is wrong? He said nothing. I asked him the second time, he said nothing. When I asked him the third time, he started to cry. What's the matter with you? He said he has a secret to tell me. What is the secret? Mommy, I have a secret to tell you about Trevor. What happened to Trevor? I have something to tell you about what Trevor made me do. What did Trevor do? Trevor made me rub up his penis and suck it.
Now, if this sounds kind of familiar, it is. Just a few months ago, we did a story very, very similar to this, all the way through. Keep listening.
No, for your 5-year-old son to come to you and tell you that, how would you feel? I contacted a police at the Grenville police station. I made a report over the phone, and I was asked to be in the police station first thing Friday morning with my son to make a report. My son made the report. He made a statement. They asked him the same question, about 5 different ways. His answer was the same, right? A child would not lie about a situation like that. A 5-year-old child would not just come to a parent and lie about something like that. He doesn't know anything like that, right? I gave him a toy and I told him, show me exactly what Trevor made you do. When I saw what the child did, there was no doubt in my mind. I went to the station, I made the report. On Friday, I contacted Trevor, asked him where he was. But before Friday, that said night, when my son explained to me exactly what Trevor made him do, I contacted Trevor. I called him 3 times. He refused to answer. I sent him a message. He said he was praying. My goodness, the devil is alive. He said he was praying. Before he left, he took a picture with me and my son, and I asked him to delete it. Whatever picture you have with me and my son, get rid of it. Then I asked him, what did you do to my son today when I left him with you? And don't lie to me. His response was, didn't do him nothing. He was playing games in the living room on the tablet while I was there on the phone talking to my brother. Wasn't paying him no mind. What he said I did to him. Mind you, Trevor doesn't have a brother. He has a sister. So I said to him, you know exactly what you did. because he told me everything. He told me what you made him do, and you told him not to tell me. I said the child came to me and he told me that he has something to tell me about you. He said exactly what you made him do.
Also, all of this conversation is in a WhatsApp message that was sent to us in its entirety. The entire conversation is on WhatsApp, all right? And it's going to be made available at the bottom of this link as well, so you guys could see exactly the conversation that was said. Because although this is bad as it is, this is not the worst. Keep listening, keep watching.
Again, don't lie to me. His response was, if he said I did that to him, that wasn't true. Why would I make a kid do anything to me? What is that? I didn't explain to you. I didn't say anything to you about what the child said. So right there and then I knew he was lying. I said, my son wouldn't lie to me like that. He wouldn't make something up like that. What did you do to my child? And I'm not going to ask you again. Y'all know what his response was? I also said to him, I said, only guilty people talk like that. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? His response was, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to bring him down to the station in the morning and have him explain to the officer exactly what you made him do. How could you make a child suck your dick? I also told him that he better pray long and hard. I told him that my child is stupid. His response was, okay, I'll have to talk to you. When I asked the guy why he did that, the worst thing he could ever say to me, the guy said because I didn't give him what he asked for, he got upset. But please forgive him. He felt he did all that he could to make me happy, and I didn't appreciate it, and he took it out on the child. But he's sorry, and that won't happen again. Why would you lie at first, and when I threaten you to go to the police, you confess? We went to court. The Saturday he got arrested, the Saturday night, his uncle called, tried to bribe me, offer me $10,000 to walk away from the situation. He even say he want his nephew not to go behind women with child, and he don't mean it in no disrespect. So I told him that was a major disrespect and he cannot buy me off. Right? You don't have a child rub your dick and then make a child suck your dick and think and try to shut him up with a handful of candy. It doesn't work like that. You went to court on Monday, you got bail, $10,000. Your mother begged, your lawyer begged the judge for you to go back up Carriacou. Until your next court date, you go up Carriacou. Second court date was today, Wednesday, 16th October. We went to court. The lawyer made all type of excuse. Bring up all your medical pass, as though he medical pass had anything to do with whatever he did to my child. The lawyer even say how he had a psychiatric evaluation, and the psychiatrist said the guy was confused. Why would you leave America, come visit me, and get confused and do that to my child? No, they bring up how he did surgery, remove his lungs, that mind you, that has nothing to do with my child. Alright? Your medical history, they even say, Elijah even tell the judge how you went to a special needs school. That has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with my child. At the end of the day, it's me and my child. Right? You do what you did. At first, you plead not guilty. because your lawyer tell you to say not guilty. You came in court today, you plead guilty, but they could have hardly hear the guilty come out of your mouth. If you knew the situation was not right, or it was not correct, or it was not true, why would your uncle call me and offer me $10,000 to walk away from the situation, asking me if I'm willing to let my friend go to jail for 15 years? From going to jail from 15 years to going on bail for $1,500, you find that making any sense?
Now, Trevor, that guy right there, was sentenced to no jail time, 0 jail time. He was charged $1,500 and set free to walk. And also, he was asked to pay $600 to the parents so that the child would have some 6 therapy sessions at $100 a piece. Now, as I said, this keeps happening and it would continue to happen. Because this is not the first instant that we had a story like this. This is actually not even the second instant.
All right. I guess you guys get a gist of what transpired, right? It got actually worse. Let me see if I could bring in Dennis and George.
The audio
on
is messed
here.
up. Well,
Dennis, are you hearing me? All right, Dennis, I'm having some audio problem. We're going to fix that in the back. So here's what the alarming and crazy thing about this whole story, guys. This young man traveled from New York, went into Grenada, close friend with the family. He sexually abused the little child, right? We had voice note, we had WhatsApp messages to prove when he admitted that he had inappropriate sexual act on the little child, that he performed inappropriate sexual act on the little child. The case went to court. The judge, I don't know if to laugh, it's not funny, but it's just crazy. The judge, ladies and gentlemen, after hearing all these facts relating to this case, let me bring Dennis on WhatsApp. After hearing all these facts in this case, guys, the judge essentially found, well, after he pled guilty, the judge charged the young man $1,500 and about $600 for 5 or 6 therapy sessions, and was left to walk free. I want to bring in Dennison, but he's having a problem with the video, so I'll bring him in on audio. Because Dennison would be able to join up the story a bit for us from his perspective. Let me get Dennison on. Dennison, are you hearing me? Dennison, are you hearing me? All right, he's not hearing me. I'll bring him in on the audio. $1,500, ladies and gentlemen, which went back to the state, and $600 for some 5 or 6 therapy sessions for the child. And the young man was left or able to walk free. Dennison, hang up and call. Let me call you on WhatsApp. I'm trying to get you on WhatsApp, to bring you in on WhatsApp. I'm trying to bring him in on WhatsApp. So essentially, guys, the young man got away scotch-free. He didn't face any jail time. Shortly after, let me try Dennison again. Dennison, are you hearing me? No. Trying to call Dennison on WhatsApp. Shortly after that, guys, the young man left the jurisdiction. He left Grenada. And that was after the RGPF filed an appeal based on the leniency of the case. Because the case, after the story broke and people got wind of what was happening, the RGPF filed an appeal based on the leniency of the case. Weeks later, the gentleman left the jurisdiction, left Grenada, came into the United States. I'm trying on this one. All right, tell you what. Let's take a quick. Let me see if I could take a quick break so that I could get Dennison active so he could come on. Because I want his perspective on this. Hold on, no, let's not take the break yet. Let's wait a second. Dennison, are you hearing me? No, we're not hearing you, Dennison. Dennison, I'm going to call you on the Facebook. All right. All right. Leniency of the judgment, sorry. Leniency of the judgment. The young man left Grenada, came into the United States. Shortly after that, guys, a group of concerned citizens, Dennison George and Jerry Hopkins and a few other concerned citizens of Grenada, decided that they would not let this case go so. So what they did? They proceeded to escalate the case. I'm trying to bring in Dennison, guys, because it's important that we get his perspective. Are you hearing me? No, he's not. Anyway, guys, I'll tell the story. Dennison's going to come on after. The case was picked up by the Eastern District of New York, Eastern District Court of New York, where Treverson Roberts pled guilty for the incident. Now, this is what a lot of people don't understand, right? How is it, or why is it, that the young man committed a crime in Grenada, yet he pled guilty in the United States? Now, this is the law as it states, right? If you are a United States citizen and you travel outside the jurisdiction, you travel outside of the jurisdiction, you travel anywhere outside, and you commit a crime, especially a crime like this, you will be charged and could be charged liable for that crime back in the United States. And this is what happened in this case here, right here, guys. So he pled guilty for the act in the United States court. And last Friday, we had the sentencing, right? Now, we were in court. We were able to listen to all the parties. And I really wanted to get Dennis on this point because he also was there and he also got a chance to go through the case. One second. Let's just take a quick break, guys. Let me hook up with Dennison's audio and we'll come right back here and right along live. Don't move, we'll be right back.
After 2 years of no mass, no bacchanal, and no vibes, let me ask you something. Are you ready to be thrilled again? Well, get ready for Amazing Colors. Amazing Colors is back on the road for 2022. Monday Night Mass is back in Grenada. And this year, year will be the most amazing return ever. Amazing Colors presents Trilogy, the largest and most colorful band on the road with over 2,000 strong. Whoa, that's a big, big band. Get ready to be amazing, thrilled, and excited. You wanna play Monday Night Mass? Then it's easy. Order your packages online now before it all sold out. Get them online on www.mnmgrenada.com or call 415-6174. It's Amazing Colors, Trilogy, unlimited drinks, all night, laser focus, high power glow sticks, head pieces, frontline, VIP outfit, drawstring back, and more. It's Amazing Colors, Trilogy, Monday Night Mass. It will be amazing. Get ready for Blackout! Saturday, July 30th, as the Carrico Regatta Festival Committee presents the FET that will ignite the Regatta Festival. Going down at Hillsborough Tennis Court in Carrico. Bring your chains, bring your horns, as we feature live from St. Vincent. Grabber Finesse. Grabber Finesse. Alongside Carrico's very own Killer B, Slaughter, Mr. Golden, and the Rough Regular Band. With music by Youngboy Moore, Jack Almighty, and Scratch Kid. Action starts 9 p.m. and goes on till. Hosted by MC Maestro. Get your $50 tickets now from Gary Blair in Petty Martinique, the Regatta Jupiter, Carrico's Tourism Office, or any Regatta Committee member. Saturday, July 30th, the place turn over. It's Blackout. That felt crazy.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. I believe that we finally got a chance to connect with Denison. Denison, could you hear us? All right. Stand by, guys. Stand by. Stand by. All right. Denison, I got to bring you in. I got to talk to you like this on the phone lines, right? Are you hearing me? Dennis, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
All right. Okay. So I want to talk to you like this because I was having problems connecting with you on the phone line. Dennis, now I want you to give me a timeline from your perspective, right? I gave the story up until the point where Treverson left the jurisdiction, left Grenada, came into the United States. Take it from there.
Well, I'm sure you explained to your audience what happened in regarding the court in Grenada.
Yes.
He pleaded guilty. He was ordered to pay the family, the mother of the child, $600. And I think he was also ordered to pay the state of Grenada, I think it was $1,500, $1,500 to $1,200.
Yes.
And miraculously, he was able to leave Grenada on a one-way ticket back to the U.S. And which to me was pretty ordained, pretty arranged. Was, the way this was done, it was like whoever arranged that trip back to the U.S. is like they knew exactly what that court in Grenada what was going to order. Remember, he pleaded guilty to a very heinous crime, a crime that could have sent him to prison in Grenada for 20, 30 years. But for some reason, he got a slap on the wrist and a one-way ticket out of Grenada. So he came back to the U.S. and that's when I was contacted by individuals in Grenada. And that's when your show was also contacted, I think, by his mother, Charles' mother. And immediately, when I got the call from people in Grenada saying, Dennis, that cannot stand. This is an injustice. I immediately contacted the Brooklyn DA's office to see what could have been done. As you know, my experience, I'm an attorney in the States. I'm also a former fraud investigator for the government. So I have experience and a few contacts within these agencies from working with them over the years. So I immediately contacted the U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District. I contacted the FBI. I contacted New York State Attorney General and gave them all the information. That look what happened in Grenada. They asked me to send in whatever documents. And I did that. And, during the following days and weeks, I was contacted to provide more information. And I didn't hear back from any of these agencies for a while. So I kind of thought maybe they didn't forget about the case until a few months later, Junior, as well as you and I, we heard that he pleaded guilty. And he pleaded guilty to 2 serious offenses I can't tell you the charges off my head, but he pleaded guilty for the crime he committed in Grenada against that child. I think it's sexual, something to do with a sex crime against a child. And he also pleaded guilty to lying to U.S. officials. Because when he got back into the U.S., I think he was asked whether he committed a crime abroad, and he pleaded guilty to those 2 charges. And as you know, Junior, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Dennis. I'm here.
As you know, over the years, there has been an outcry from countries in the Far East, countries in Mexico, Haiti, poor countries in the hemisphere, that American men come into these countries and exploiting children, exploiting young women, exploiting young boys. So in, I think it was 2003, Congress passed this law that if you're an American citizen and you travel abroad and you committed any sex crime against a child under the Children Exploitation Obscenity Section laws, you will be prosecuted when you come back to the United States. So when he arrived back in the United States, I am sure that he and his attorney believed that he was going to go free. But what he didn't know, that the U.S. arms of justice was waiting for him. And I was very impressed because there was about 5 federal agencies working on that case. I think they had the Homeland Security, U.S. Custom and Immigration, U.S. Attorney's Office, and the OC, I think it's the Child Exploitation Obscenity. That's an agency that was created around 1976 to stop the exploitation of American children. So the agencies got together and they were able to arrest him, and he pleaded guilty. After pleading guilty, he went straight to prison while he was waiting sentencing. And as you know, Junior, last week he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, federal prison, no probation and no parole.
Yeah.
So he must do 10 years. And not only that, Junior, after the people of Grenada, there was this uproar by the citizens of Grenada saying this cannot stand. The Royal Grenadian Police Force filed an objection to the sentence that he received in Grenada.
Right.
The Royal Grenadian Police Force filed an objection to that sentence before the OECS Court of Appeal,
yes,
in St. Lucia.
Yes.
So that matter is still pending there.
Yes.
And I'm almost certain that the OECS Appeals Court will reverse that $600 sentence that he received in Grenada. So after doing time in federal prison, Grenada could ask for him to be extradited back to Grenada to face whatever sentence, resentencing that will be done.
Yes.
Because, under law, Grenada, the U.S. did had personal jurisdiction over him.
Yes.
Because he was an American.
He was an American.
People in Grenada wants to know how come Mr. Robert, the crime took place in Grenada, how come the U.S. was able to prosecute him there?
Yeah.
And, a lot of people got angry and said the U.S. was messing in Grenada internal affairs, but that's not the case. The U.S. had personal jurisdiction over him because of his domicile, because he was an American citizen. Also, he lives in America. He was only visiting Grenada. The U.S. also had subject matter jurisdiction over him because he violated an American law, so which gave the U.S. courts jurisdiction over him. So the U.S. had both subject matter jurisdiction and personal jurisdiction over him. And Grenada, so do Grenada.
Yeah.
So he's still not out of the woods yet because he violated Grenadian laws, and he has ties to Grenada because he's also Grenadian. He has dual citizenship.
Now, Denison, let's go back again. Let's go back a little bit to the case, right? You're a lawyer. How is it that the system of justice in Grenada got this one so wrong? who dropped the ball here? Because we had so much evidence, Dennis. The man agreed. The man basically on the voice note that he left, that he sent her, he actually said, yeah, he did it. Right? They had all this evidence in court. They had all this evidence at their fingertip, whether it made it to court or didn't make it to court, but they had all this evidence because we had all the evidence and the mother presented all the evidence. Who dropped the ball?
My brother, maybe if things was not different in Grenada today, maybe I would have been frightened to speak because, as you know, Mrs. Sturt, the attorney who represented this individual was also, and this is Dennis and George opinion, this is not Junior George opinion, Mr. Sturt was also the husband of the minister from Carriacou, under the NNP government. Now, this minister from Carriacou was the legal affairs minister. That means she was responsible for protecting children in Grenada. And what is so puzzling, why would the husband of the Minister of Legal Affairs, who is responsible for protecting Grenadian children, will go before a court and try to defend a sex predator, especially when he was pleading guilty?
Yeah.
You would think that this would be something, as the husband of the Minister of Legal Affairs, you would run from.
Yeah, but hold on. But before we go there, do we have evidence that he, in fact, represented?
Yes. He was his lawyer. Yes, I'm 100% certain of that. He was Mr. Roberts' lawyer.
Okay.
And what I am going to say, as I say, I feel free to speak now, because as you know, he had filed a lawsuit. Mr. Stewart had filed a lawsuit against GBN News, I guess, trying to shut GBN up and trying to shut me up because these people were so arrogant that they own Grenada. They were so arrogant that their word is the last word in Grenada. But thank God, on June 23rd, the people of Grenada said, no, that's not the case. Now, let me say this. I have no doubt, Junior. I have no doubt that, and it's going to come out. I'm waiting for the federal papers to, the federal court after a certain period of time going to release all the information on that case. And it's eventually going to show what transpired in Grenada. I have no doubt, Junior, that corruption and political nepotism played a role in that sentencing in Grenada. That same judge in Grenada sent a man to prison for 3 years for stealing coconuts. 3 months before that.
Right.
You want to tell me with all these lawyers in Grenada, this kind of case was not even Mr. Stewart, that was not the kind of case he does. That was not his pay grade. And you want to tell me that he was sought out? That's not even his expertise? Come on, Junior. Nobody's stupid.
Right. What about prosecuting the case? Because there were talk that a lot of information that was evidence did not even make it in front of the judge.
He pleaded guilty, Junior.
Right.
So once he pleaded guilty, I guess that prevented a lot of stuff from coming out before the judge. But I could tell you this, my brother, and I don't care who sue me. Let Mr. Stewart sue me. I wanted him to sue me. Let me just say this to you. I have no doubt, Junior, regardless of if Jesus Christ, this guy came forward and he said, I did it.
Right.
He was recording from this young man to his mother, to the child's mother, saying, forgive me, what I did. He explained everything he did. And that judge still found it fair to charge him $600. She could have charged him any amount he wants. She could have sent him to prison for 20 years. I don't think the people of Grenada would have gotten angry. I'm hearing people saying, well, it was not that kind of case. It was a summary judgment case where her hands was tied. Her hands was not tied. Her hands was not tied. Grenadians would not have been angry if she sentenced that man to prison for 20 years. She should have sentenced him to prison for 20 years and then to let him appeal before the Caribbean, the OECS appeals court in St. Lucia, as the Royal Grenadian Police Force is doing right now. Remember, it's not only me that is saying that's unjust. The Royal Grenadian Police Force also came to the same conclusion, that this cannot stand, and that's why they appealed the sentence before the OECS appeals court in St. Lucia.
Yeah. Guys, we're looking back at this case here. And this is the case, as I said, that broke on right along in October of 2019. And this was just mere weeks before another case broke. The only difference with this particular case was that, one, the individual in question is a Grenadian. He molested a young child and he got away with it. He got a mere slap on the wrist and he got away with it. This particular case was a bit different. The young man was an American and a Grenadian citizen, and shortly after, he traveled back into the United States. But he went from the fireside. They said he went from the frying pot into the fireside, because when he came back into the United States, that's when the United States had jurisdiction over him, because he's now an American citizen. Now, what we have, guys, is the some audio from the court where he expressed sadness and sorrow for what he did in the incident. But I'll play that back for you in a short while. But I wanna see how or what could be done, Dennison, from your perspective, from my perspective, from legal perspective, or what could we say to ensure that people get that message and don't think that they could go ahead and molest children and the justice system is just going to give them a slap on the wrist. What reinforcement, what can we say, what could be done or said to let people know that this kind of situation will not be tolerated? There are many people that's watching, and we will not just sit idle by and make stuff like that continue to happen to our young children.
Well, listen, I think, Julian, if you ask me, to be honest, what happened, the change that we saw in Grenada on the 23rd of June with the election of a new government, that's the beginning. That's the beginning. Because what you had in Grenada, and trust me, Junior, this case is just the tipping point. You understand? I know of cases that is 10 times up case.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But it just hasn't been brought to light yet. Some of them might be currently under investigation by the proper authorities. But the change on June 23rd is the beginning of something new in Grenada. And when I say something new, the government, the NNP government, and I could say it freely, there is many instances and many cases where they were interfering with the judiciary in Grenada. Remember, the judiciary in Grenada is supposed to be independent from the executive branch of government.
Mm-hmm.
But you had politicians calling into judges, you understand, and asking for favors. There is many cases where that is well established, where people in politics call judges and ask them for favors. You know, so when you have a system where the political branch of government is interfering in the judiciary branch, you're going to always find situation like what happened in this case. But let me just explain this to you. First of all, this is happening in Grenada too often. You remember the case with the case in St. David's, where Ride Along had to basically broadcast about what was happening to that child before the Royal Grenadian Police Force moved in and arrested. You remember the case, Junior?
Yeah. That was Lawrence, I believe.
Lawrence, yes.
Yeah.
Lawrence Bell case.
Yes.
And what I'm saying to you is that this is happening too frequent in Grenada. What you need to happen in Grenada here, and I'm currently, you're hearing the noise, I'm currently in Labe Town. I'm speaking to you out in Labe Town, so the cars is passing by. What needs to happen, Junior, is that you have to have a change in the system.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you have to have a change with the laws. Too much of these guys are raping and with young children here, with young girls, and they're going to prison for 3 and 4 years and 2 years. Some of them don't even go into prison at all, and they're getting away with it. You need to change the laws. First of all, the first thing I think have to be done, the government have to classify these sexual crimes against children as what you call strict scrutiny crime. Strict scrutiny crime means that there is no mitigating circumstances, no excuse.
Right.
You have sex with and most United States have those laws, including federal laws. You have sex with a 12-year-old, no excuse. You have sex with a 15-year-old, no excuse. You can't say she looked older than I thought she was. She showed me a fake ID. I didn't realize what I was doing. I was drunk. Under strict scrutiny law, no excuse.
Right.
Not only no excuse, mitigating circumstances plays no role in sentencing and at trial. So if you declare these cases, because I've seen cases where in Grenada where the judge take into consideration, she let him on, she showed him a fake ID. He thought she was older. Under strict scrutiny, that would be out. So first of all, the government has to classify these cases of sex cases against children as strict scrutiny crime. Now, the second thing you have to do, Junior, you have to have strict guidelines, sentencing guidelines.
Yes.
You have sex with a minor under 15, you go into prison for 20 years. You rape a child, you rape a woman, you go into prison for 25 years. Or death. You understand? Now, when you have these strict guidelines for sentencing, judges cannot deviate from them. They cannot grant political favors to people who they know or because they know this. Because remember, we live in a small society in Grenada. Mostly everybody know each other.
Yes.
But we cannot allow these judges to be swayed by political influence or economic influence. Because in Grenada here, the system is not fair. If Travis Roberts was some poor man's child from Paul's, from Guave, from La Poterie, he was going to be sitting in Richmond Hill Prison tonight. He would not have gotten the opportunity to fly to America if he was some poor man's child. You understand what I'm saying? And the only reason why he got away from Grenada is because these people have no respect. They had no respect for who the victim was. Because again, if he had no victim, because if this was a situation where this was some rich people child that he did that to, he would have also been at Richmond Hill Prison. But as I said, there was a lot of arrogance, political influence in these cases. And could you imagine these people, this judge that sentences, that gave this order, felt they got away with it. The people wouldn't say anything. It's okay, So I'm just saying, could you imagine that? The audacity of these judges and these people are involved in this case. But thank God the U.S. government stepped forward and they did what they did. And I'm not rejoicing of Mr. Roberts' situation. He's a young man. He made a terrible mistake. He has to pay for his mistake. And going forward, we just have to pray that this child receive the proper therapy so that this child would have a normal life. As you know, Junior, when that happened in Grenada, the government never stepped forward and offered the child any kind of therapy. We had 4 women ministers in St. Andrews. Not one of them reached out to that mother of that child.
And that was sad. That was sad. That's
what I'm telling you. The political audacity of these people, the arrogance of these people. And thank God the Grenadian people wake up on June 23rd and say, no more. Could you imagine that? None of these ministers from St. Andrews, 4 women, 3 of them are mothers. Some of them are school teachers. Not one reached out to that mother. But I'm going to tell you, all praise and all glory goes to that mother of that child. She fought for justice, Junior. And you know that because you spoke to her in the past. I've spoken to her in the past. She fought for justice. And when she couldn't get justice in Grenada, she reached out to you and she reached out to me and she said, take this case to the American government. I want justice for my child. So we have to salute that mother. And as you know, the mother and the child was in the U.S., is currently, I think, in the U.S., and she was able to testify before the federal judge. And as a lawyer in the United States, I'm currently in Grenada, but when I get back, I am going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that that child receive adequate and the necessary therapy and counseling in the United States. And then make sure that the United States government sponsor that counseling and the United States government is responsible for helping the child go forward. So when I get back, that will be another project that I'm working on. to make sure that child and that child receive the counseling and the therapy that child will need in the United States to help heal and have a normal life as a child. Every child in the world has a privilege and a right to receive.
Yes. Now I wanna play back a bit of the audio. Dennis, you wouldn't be able to hear it because you're on the phone line. But before I play back the audio, what were your feedback from the court hearing?
Well, to be honest with you, I was expecting him to get between 15 and 25 years, especially in the current climate after the Harvey Weinstein case, the other case, the billionaire Espin. So the current climate of in the U.S. where zero tolerance for that kind of behavior. I was expecting him to get between 15 and 25 years. Apparently, we have to be, judges stick. He got the lowest end of the federal stick, which is 10 years, because I think the judge take into consideration that he has no criminal past, he has no criminal record. He was in prison for 1 year, waiting sentencing. Maybe he displayed good behavior there. Maybe I'm sure he was receiving counseling while in prison for that year. Mm-hmm. Maybe the prison counselor gave good reports on him. And as you know, you listen yourself, that plea of his mother.
His mother plead her eyes out for her son.
Yes,
and
his mother really. Yes.
And me sitting back and listening to it, absent of that plea, I think the judge would have been a lot more harsh on him.
Yes, I think so. I also think so, Junior.
Yeah.
I think that mother went all out to try to save her son. And but you know what? Sometimes we can't forget the victim. Sometimes we have to remember not all children sometimes recover from that kind of situation.
Yes.
And we are hoping and we are praying and that this young child will, and with the proper counseling. And but we have to always remember the victim. I have zero tolerance for that kind of stuff. And I'm saying, thank God he don't live in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and one of those Middle Eastern countries, because he would have been put to death for what he did.
Yeah.
So as much as his mother pleaded, I'm happy with the 10 years. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping for 15 to 25, but it is what it is, and the judge maybe take into consideration the mother's pleas, as I said, his mother plea, and also the other mitigated circumstances regarding what maybe has led up to this young man doing such a heinous crime. Such a heinous crime.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Dennison. I'm gonna play back the audio, and sorry we couldn't connect to where we could hear you and see you, but we'll connect again another time. We appreciate your input on the hard work that you have been doing on your end as well. All right.
Well, yes, my brother. And let me just say, we couldn't have gotten this far also without your program. Your program was the one that broke that story, and your program has been responsible for breaking many stories like this one, including the Robert Bell case. And, we as Grenadians have to protect our children. I know things is very hard here in Grenada. I know, financially, a lot of women, because of economic situation, find themselves with some of these kind of men predators and a little bit lapse on protecting their children. But I'm just saying, too, I don't want to just say women. Where are the men in Grenada? Where are the uncles? Where are the cousins of these children to, to go there and take these sex predators to task? In my days as a child growing up in Paraclete, if someone had committed such an act, the men in the village would take it into their own hands to handle this situation.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, we have to say, many people ask, where are the men, to step forward and protect our children? And let me just say this, Junior, I want to make it clear. There is a lot of men from the US and Canada and England that comes to Grenada during carnival time and looking for the youngest of the youngest to have fun with. just remember, if you come to Grenada for Carnival and you mess with one of these children here, when you get back to the US, you will be prosecuted. So for those who are looking to come to Grenada and have a good time with our children and the children here, just remember that. So, I just want to put that out there. But we have to stand firm, and the Grenadian government and the court system have to do more to protect children here. They have to do more to protect the children of Grenada. And when these men step forward and do this kind of heinous act against children, they have to guarantee that they're going away for 20 and 30 years, and even castration or death. And that's the only way and the only time we're going to take this thing serious and bring an end to the situation. Thank you, Junior.
All right, thank you so much, Dennis and George, there for the hard work, taking it from where we left off with the story and ensuring that the mother get full justice. Now, guys, I'm going to play back the audio of Treverson Roberts in court, all right? And his plea right before the sentencing. Let's just take a quick break, and when we come back, we will play back that audio. Don't move, we'll be right back. You're watching Right Along Live.
Good morning.
Only red event of Spice Mass Package Show, Sunday, July 31st, Rainbow City Sunday. Elimus Gilbert Seydu and the Spice Style International Auto Rentals welcomes you to Package Show on Redville Bus Terminal, Rainbow Sunday. Specky has invited twice-time soca monarch of Trinidad, Ronnie McIntosh. And 3 times Vincy Road March winner, Godfrey Dublin. Gates open at 9. Showtime midnight. Most of Grenada's top acts will be featured, including a performance of a lifetime by the Hitman himself. Tickets are $50. More at the door. Tickets available at Max's Bar and Bogozo Barbershop in Grenville, Calico's in Suttel, Licks and Bites in Gore, St. David's Pharmacy, and Chucky, Battle Bus Terminal. Sunday, July 31st, Grenville Bus Terminal. And fellas, it's the only show in Spice Mass where you could bring your wife and the side chick.
Hi, guys. So let's play it back right now. This is...
Good morning.
This is Treverson Roberts in court.
Good morning. I just want to say I'm extremely sorry for what
audio. The beginning is the audio is sort of bad in the beginning, but it clears up a little bit. All right, listen in.
Good morning. I just want to say I'm extremely sorry for what happened on the island of Grenada. That is not who I am as an individual. I made a mistake. I just want to apologize to Angel Francis and his family. This is me as an individual. It's not me. And my records keep high value. That's not me. I made a mistake. I apologize from the bottom of the people of my heart. I'm very, very sorry. I never felt like this before in my entire life. I just want to say I'm very, very sorry. Very, 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 very sorry. That's not me. I've never given trouble in America. Never. Never, ever. That's my first time ever getting in trouble with the law. And I'm extremely sorry. I've always been a working person, helping my grandparents in the island of Calico. I've always helped my mom, even being in here, being incarcerated right now, it pierced me very heavily at this moment. I love helping my family, especially. I'm very family oriented. I like helping my family, and a situation like this definitely help. Put me in a very, very sorry moment. I just want to say I'm very sorry to the family, to Angel Francis, my name. And I just want to say I act like this will never happen again. Never. My records speak volume that has never happened before. And I just want to say I'm very sorry. Thank you. All right, thank you.
All right. So this is where you get opportunity to chime in, guys. I'm not going to play back the mother plea right now. It's not queued up, but we'll post that on the Ride Along page. You guys go and check it out after the program. All right. What you just heard there is minutes before the sentencing, where Trevor Roberts pleading and saying that he's sorry, it never happened before, and it will never happen again. But you know what's confusing about this whole thing, and that's why I don't know. I'm not sure I believe that this situation never occurred before. If you listen to the mother's story, right? If you listen to the mother's story, where she said that he gave the kid candy and he bribed the kid, you know, this kind of things on them, is obvious that he planned or he knew how to seduce these children into this type of acts before. So when he said that it never happened before, I am not a believer. And that's one of the things that got me when listening to his plea. I don't believe it. I don't believe that it never happened before. I don't believe that it never happened before. Let me give you guys an opportunity to call in right now. 718-701-5720. Call in right now on the WhatsApp or on the phone line. What's your take on this case, guys? What is your take on what transpired here from beginning to end? The act, the verdict, and now the sentencing here in the U.S. What's your take on it? Call in right now. We open up the phone lines. 718-701-5720. Again, you could call in on the WhatsApp or you could call directly on the phone lines. We'll pull you in on either one of the connections, on the phone line or on the WhatsApp. All right, we got a caller on the line. Caller live, where are you calling us from? Brooklyn, New York. Yes.
Convinced
Yeah, go ahead,
that
caller.
this
Yes.
young man, I am convinced that this young man, he did this before. Okay, I'm not going to judge, but the way he speaks, let me tell you something. I'm convinced that he did this before. And my thing is, this mother, the mother of that molester, has she ever thought about what her son did to that innocent child? Or everything is about Trevor this and he did this, and you're pleading court for your son. But what about that child that your son victimized? That child that your son traumatized? And I'm praying, God, that this child, you know what? The system in Grenada let down that child. And thank God for Mr. Dennis Robinson for the task he do, taking up that task, because you know what? Back home in Grenada, they brush it under the carpet like it's nothing. But when you damage a child, you mentally messed up that child. And sometimes in society, you see some kids turn out to be this, and you ask yourself, not all kids, but you ask yourself where the source comes from. And I ask myself, if this mother of that molester ever thought about that child, how her son damaged this child. And I believe that this guy had done this before. This is what molesters do. They give kids a particular thing and they will tell them, hush, don't say nothing. So, you know, the kids now, they're vulnerable. But you are an adult. You're not supposed to be mixing with a young kid. As Dennis Robinson was saying, he lucky he wasn't in Saudi Arabia, because they would have dealt with him handsomely. I'm telling you, them laws don't play. And I'm telling you, laws in Grenada need to change. Our children cannot go through this anymore. We need to step up. We have to be the example. We have to be the example. I'm praying, God, that this young child get all the need that he's supposed to get. And you know what? I'm just surprised. 10 years you're gonna give him? But you know what? The saddest thing about it, and let me tell you something, this is why American law up here, they don't play when it comes to kids. They do not play. No, his record is tarnished. He cannot get a job. You see what happened, the consequences? You cannot go 5 feet or 10 feet around kids because your record is tarnished. You are a child molester. You cannot work anymore. And I think this law should be passed in Grenada. Them here up in New York, they don't play with them kind of laws. So I'm praying that young child gets some help, some physical help, and I hope you all pray for that child. But for that molester that you did to the child, I'm telling you, you have a day coming You destroy that young child. And you're talking about you apologize and that will never happen again. I believe that he did this already. He did this before. So let us all rally and pray for that child. And some laws need to change in Grenada. It have to change. We're not going to do this to our children. This is our children, our responsibility. We bring them in the world. God give us to us, and we need to protect them. Fathers protect them, mothers protect them, the village protect them. Come on, we could do it. Do not let our children be in this kind of situation. This is our children, because one day God is going to ask us, what have you done with them? What have you done with them?
Yes.
This is wrong in my eyes. It is wrong to do a kid that. A child. This is a child. My goodness, all these big women out on the street. Go get one. A child. Come on. Let's pray and rally around that child. And for that mother of that molester, shame on you. Shame on you for pleading for what your son did to that innocent child. Have a good evening, Junior.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you so much for calling. All right, guys. Open phone lines. Call in right now. Let's get your take on what transpired here with this child and the verdict. Now, a few people, again, was messaging during the process while this case was being processed and saying, well, they don't understand why the U.S. had to step in. They don't understand why the U.S. authority had to step in, and it was not within their jurisdiction. It was outside of the jurisdiction to enter. But because of how it happened, guys, the young man was a U.S. and a Grenadian citizen. The U.S. laws will have jurisdiction for you, especially in this particular case where he traveled abroad and commit a crime. That's why the U.S. law stepped in, and the U.S. laws didn't just automatically step in. Had it not been for the story going viral, had it not been for Denison and others who worked on the ground to get that information over to the authorities, they would have not just automatically stepped in. But it could have been averted, because had it been that the justice system, the justice system in Grenada did what it's supposed to have done, if they did their job from the prosecutor to all the way up, and they got a sensible sentence was handed down to this guy, right? We would have never been speaking about this. This was a situation that would have happened. He got arrested, he got charged in Grenada, he got sentenced in Grenada, he's doing time in Grenada. But no, it now look on the world scale, it's embarrassing, because people are saying, but what, the U.S. have to correct the laws in Grenada now? The U.S. had to tell Grenada that this is wrong? The U.S. justice system had to tell the Grenada justice system that is not how you deal with children? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Now the whole world is talking about it. Everyone is talking about it. This made headline news, right? A Grenadian American traveled abroad, sexually molested a child, came back to the U.S. and got sentenced to 10 years in jail. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. Open up the phone line, guys, 718-701-572. So getting your views on what transpired here. Go back to the phone lines. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York. Go right ahead.
I'm happy that he was sentenced.
Yes.
But America got all the information that they needed. They had all the data from Grenada.
Yeah.
So they were able to make a ruling. But America doesn't always get it right.
Right.
There are a lot of cases where children are molested and cases go to court and it's dismissed in Brooklyn.
Yes.
In America.
Yes.
So they don't always get it right. So, we could say that it's embarrassing, the ruling that was handed down in Grenada. Yes. It was a joke, a slap in the child's face, the fact that nothing was offered, no services, and all of that. And we keep leaving our children without any kind of services at home, And, I mean, it happens here also.
Yeah. No, and I'm not. It happens all over the world. It happens
all
over the world. But what we have to look at is a pattern. You have to look at where there is a pattern, right? And here's a pattern that we've seen. Just mere weeks before we broke that story, there was a similar story where a young man sexually molested a young girl. She was 8 years old. And although all the information was presented, and the child could have counted how many times that particular individual sexually molested her, it went to court, and the guy never got not even one charge. He walked free. Just mere weeks later, this incident popped up. The man walked free. So the optics of it, the story behind it, the writing on the wall, is that is how the justice system treats children. Right?
Yeah, but you see,
in a small population like Grenada, where you have within a month, you have two similar instances where the court handed down very lenient judgment on the accused, and they both have to do with sexual molestation of children. The optics doesn't look right. I'm not saying that it don't happen in America, it don't happen in Canada, it don't happen in England. It happens. It happens. But this is another instance that show, put the mirror in front of our eyes and say, take a look at us. This should not happen in at least back to back like this in a small country like Grenada. It should not happen. Consistently, the optics does not look good.
Well, I mean, the laws have a lot to do with it. Training is also very necessary, because one of the things that anytime I start to think about it and how they interview children in Grenada, I get very angry, because what you're doing is re-traumatizing a child.
Yes.
When a child is sexually abused, you don't re-question the child. That's not, you don't do that, because you're just causing more trauma to a child. You have one person do the interview. The police and the child protection worker, they observe the interview and take their notes from there. You don't ask a child, a 5-year-old, what time of day it was.
Yeah.
That's something that was just bugging me out. I don't understand how
it shouldn't happen.
5-year-old
You're right, it shouldn't happen.
What time of day it is. You don't ask a child that. You ask the child what was on TV, what were you doing at that time? You know, was it morning? You ask questions that a child can relate to. So it's training and retraining, and it's not just the workers, it's also the police and everybody that's supposed to be involved in protecting a child and keeping a child safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
718-701-5720. We're taking your call. Let's know your reaction on this story here, guys. It was October 2019, as I said. October 2019 when we got the call. But I'm saying, what if we never got the call? Or what if we didn't take the call? Or what if the video never became viral? What would have happened? Jump back to the phone. I call you live. Where are you calling us from? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hi. Go right ahead. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from the UK.
UK, go right ahead.
Hi. Just to add to what you're saying, or what transpired tonight, I was really baffled by this. And when I heard the news that he got sentenced 10 years, I was so happy. I was so happy. This is just crazy. What is the Grenadian government doing for our children? And this is my personal views. My personal views is that this guy and the judge and the lawyers, everybody had to be paid off. That judge needs to be disbarred. Because that judge is not doing anything to better our nation, to help our children.
Yes.
This is just crazy. I trust me. The news. When I heard the news, I was so happy. And as that caller from before said, that young man, he did that before. Just the fact that he kept stressing. I've never done this before. Whether you did it before, you didn't do it before, you did it now. And his mother has to be ashamed of herself to be going and plead for her child. Your child destroyed another child's life. How that child supposed to grow up? What if he decides, okay, he's gonna grow up a faggot? I mean, come on. There's so much factors surrounding what could happen to that child. That's all. Thank you very much.
All right, no problem. 717-015-720. And we don't want to use the derogatory term that she just used, okay? All right, let's leave that one day. Again, 717-015-720. Let's get your reaction on what transpired here. The young man came into in Grenada, sexually molested a young child, got charged only $1,500. $1,500, and that $1,500 went back to the state, and $600 for some therapy sessions or so. All right, and he was free to walk. I was saying earlier, what if the mother decided that, okay, she was not going to make that call or not take it further? That would have been another statistic. And you know the funny thing about it is, there are a lot of young people that are being sexually molested every single day. Every single day. And some of them have been sexually molested by people in high authorities. There are allegations of sexual molestation on a daily basis. And oftentimes, guys, we broke a number of those stories. There was the allegation of that we broke with Bell in St. David. You guys remember that? Just about a year or so ago. That case is still ongoing, and we're still looking at it. Right? These type of things will continue, and unless the prosecutors and the police is not serious about prosecuting those crimes, they are basically giving those pedophiles a slap on the wrist. Yeah, kind of like, go ahead, keep doing it, man. Keep doing your thing, no problem. You get a little charge for that and you walk free. It's not sending a strong message. It's not telling the next would-be pedophile to, yo, when you do something like this, you could get locked up for a period of time. It's not telling them that. It's basically telling them, giving like an open door policy. Go ahead, man, do what you have to do. Set up yourself. A serious message have to be sent. And that's why I think, and I firmly believe, that a lot of these pedophiles on them, they're not afraid of jail. I think they're not as scared. Let me put it like this. They're not as scared of jail as they are scared of being exposed. Yeah. They're not as scared because they feel now, okay, they ain't gonna get no time, but they're scared to be exposed. They don't want people to know. They have shame in their eye. That's why we have a zero tolerance policy for this type of things on them. When situation like that break, trust me, we've seen it here and right along. And we have broken many of these stories, and we'll continue to break these stories. If local media choose to do it or not do it, we are going to champion that cause. And as we broke this story, that right now we could say, well, there's some sort of justice in this case. There are someone facing 10 years in prison for a story that we broke, 2019. There are many, many more that you will see, guys. Trust me. There are many more stories that you will see. I will continue to reveal. Because most of them don't scared to go to jail. They're not scared to go to jail. I'm telling you all this straight. They ain't scared to go to jail. But they're very fearful of being exposed. And that's where we come in. That's where we come in. Open up the phone line 718-701-5720. Let's get your reaction on the case, on the verdict. And one of the things that the lawyer said, guys, I have to put up that whole entire court sentencing for you guys so you can listen there. The lawyer, one of his defense lawyer said in court that it only happened for a short period of time. It was only for a short period of time. And so he was kind of, trying to basically tell the court that, well, we can't give him such a lengthy sentence because, one, he never did anything like that before, and two, the incident only happened for a short period of time. But does it matter? Does it matter if it happened for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 seconds? That 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, that time frame would change the child's life forever. That 30 seconds, that child will never be the same again. When the mother started to speak, the mother of the child started to speak, and she started to say she had to move the child from school to school because, for one, he was embarrassed to go to school. He was embarrassed to go to the school. She had to move him around all over the place. He was ashamed. Right? Right now, he ain't eating properly. The child life, guys, is forever changed. So that 30 seconds essentially changed his life forever. So when the defense attorney stepped up and said that, well, Your Honor, the incident only lasted a short period of time. That was mere laughable. Mere laughable. Let's see if we got a caller. Caller live, are you calling for the program?
I'm calling from Houston.
Yes. Hi, caller. How are you doing?
Could you hear me? I'm doing good, Junior. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Junior, I followed this case from the first day that you broadcast that case on live. And to me, I listened to what the mother had to say, and I listened to the recording that you played. I listened to Dennis and George talking about that case. My question is, he gave that child candy after he molested him. Where did he get the candies from? Because the mother says she don't give her child candies. She don't bring candies in her house. So where did the candies come from? So to me, that's something that he has been doing to other kids, that we have done to other kids, because he walked with the candy in his pocket. Because if the mother didn't have no candies in her house, where did the candy come from to give that child after he finished molesting that child?
Yeah, and you're so right. It's either he walked with the candy in his pocket, or he went to the store and buy the candy.
Vehicle or what? And the mother says she was only gone for about 30, 40 minutes. So where did that candy come from? You know, all that part of it. And that's for a 5-year-old child, and then you turn around and you tell the mother you did her child that because she did not turn to you, because she did not give in to your advances. Come on, you know, he has been doing, to me, he's been doing these things already. And he knew what he was going to do. And that's something he had planned. And he got the opportunity when the mother asked him, could you watch my child? I'm going to be gone for a couple minutes. So that was his opportunity. And that's how I feel about it. And I think he get what he needed. He put himself there. Too bad he had to spend 10 years. He should have been spending 30 years in prison.
Yes.
That child going to be scarred for years.
Yes.
That child going to be scarred for years. No matter what therapy that child, that's going to be a playback for that child for years to come. And I would say, thank you, Junior. You and Dennis and George have been doing a very good thing for the people of Grenada and the West Indies as a whole. Continue to what you're doing. Bless up. God be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Guys, there are so much more of these stories that we will take a second look at again. Not take a second look at again, but bring up again. Because a few months before that, we actually broke another story similar to that, right? And I had to ask the mother of that child. And to date, they have not gotten any positive feedback, and the investigation is still ongoing. It's a lot of work to do. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Pleasant good day, calling you from Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago, go right ahead.
I have been following up this since before the first time when he was fined and then he left and went to America.
Right.
One of the things that I believe that he lost is the trust from the parents and the trust from the community, where we long time grow a child, the village raise a child.
Right.
And he needed help. Now, if this was identified about his edifying attributes, he needed help. And incarcerating him don't give help. Rehabilitation does. Spiritually, psychologically, and emotionally, he needs support. Because after 10 years, he will come back believing that the community, the people around him, his state, his country has failed him as an individual. And I want people to look at this also biblically, those who follow Christ, that man is a human being, that child is a human being. The child was not wrong based on his innocence, but we never knew how that man grew up. And he could have been the same thing have been dealt to him, and nobody didn't help him. So he thought it was right. Nobody ever said, let us discipline the person who have done him this wrong. And he could be emotionally destroyed. And we as people just continue to tarnish and to brand and to not give help for the next West Indian, the next Caribbean man who have that same thoughts and ambition to deal with young boy and girl. Because I remember a conference was kept and a lady stand up and wanted to pass this in the Supreme Court of United States as pedophilia is not to be a criminal charge, because what they're saying is also a sickness, but it's also an emotion, it's a feeling. So they could put it under queer, on the LBGQ and queer, so they could fit under queer. And that was petition, and it get over nearly, you can look up, because I looked at it last week, they already meet nearly 200 million Americans and other people around the world saying that should be a law, that you're not supposed to castrate them or do them anything. So people looking at this as he did a wrong, but what they're saying, because he's queer, that could be his love, that could be his fetish, that could be his desire. He really sees a young person, not vulnerable, but entitlement to be aroused, to be emotionally cuddled, physically.
I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. But here's what we cannot do, and here's what I'm not going to allow to happen here. We cannot make excuses for the situation. Yes, he is mentally deranged. I believe that he's sick. He's sick. It's just like if somebody get a cut, you could see that they have a cut in their hand, they're physically bleeding, right? In his case, he's mentally bleeding, right? I understand that. We could say the same thing for someone who go in a concert hall and shoot up a whole set of people and kill a whole set of people. They're mental. They're mental.
They're mental.
Yes, but we cannot.
And look at next thing.
But at the same time,
next thing,
we cannot make excuses for the behavior. The behavior have to be dealt with seriously. They have to be serious action. Now, I also believe that incarceration supposed to also lead to rehabilitation. I believe that you don't just lock up someone and just put them in a cell for 10 years, lock them up, and then bring them back into the society. I believe that it's supposed to be some kind of rehabilitation. At the same time, if somebody do the crime, I believe that they should do the time. And he did the crime, and he should do the time. But I understand what you're saying. Hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. Hello?
If it was in the state of California, you know, you wouldn't have been locked up.
If?
That is another thing.
If
it was in the state of California, he will not be behind bars.
Why not?
Because as I told you before, the university there and about 30 other universities made a petition to now put that behavioral pattern under queer. And remember, queer is now a law, which you know, LBGQ and queer. Come on. So we have to understand that the system is also encouraging men and women who have that type of behavioral pattern to be acceptable in society because of queer. Queer is now a study.
I don't know that to be a fact. I can't agree because
you research it. You could research it.
Okay.
You could research it. And what I will do, since I am on WhatsApp with you, I'm going to send you the petition. I'm going to send you the whole. It had a big conference on it, and I will send you it so you could have more factual information on that behavioral pattern. Thank you for allowing me this time.
Yeah, man.
May God bless you all, and let us continue to remember: if you do the crime, face the time, but help them through the time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, caller. We appreciate you. And that's something that I've been preaching and talking about for a long time. There should be some form of rehabilitation in any crime whatsoever. There should be rehabilitation, right? You don't just lock up someone, put them in solitary confinement, because when they take out someone from solitary confinement and take someone out of prison, they still feel like they're like a mongoose in a cage still, you know. They're out, but they just don't know how to deal with life. They still have that mentality. So there still have to be some kind of rehabilitation after imprisonment, right? And he probably would get that. He probably would come out a completely different person. Who knows? I've even had on this program right here, I interviewed a what do you call? A former child molester. I've had him on the program. We spoke, right? And he's now a pastor. And he spoke about when he was 6 years old. When he was 6 years old, he was sexually molested. And that went untreated. And when he was 14 years old, he molested a 6-year-old child. Although he understood and felt the hurt and pain that he went through at 6 years old when it happened to him, when he was 14 years old, the age that the person that molested him, he did the same exact thing. And he was saying psychologically in his head, what he was feeling was that person take power from him. He wanted to feel that power that person had when they took it from him. And that was his excuse as to why he did it, right? But that is no excuse. It cannot be condoned. People who have this appetite for those minors, to destroy those young minors' mind, they should be put in a special place. They should be put in a place where they take time out within their own self, locked up, whether it's in prison, in prison. But at the same time, I believe there should be some kind of rehabilitation of that individual in the long term. Yeah. 718-701-5720. We're going to take the last call. Don't forget, at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, we have a live program coming in on Ride Along Live. We're going to make time for that at the top of the hour. So, guys, we'll make time for that. You know, let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Don't move.
After 2 years of no mass, no bacchanal, and no vibes, let me ask you something. Are you ready to be thrilled again? Well, get ready for Amazing Colors. Amazing Colors is back on the road for 2022. Monday Night Mass is back in Grenada. And this year will be the most amazing return ever. Amazing Colors presents Trilogy, the largest and most colorful band on the road with over 2,000 strong. Whoa, that's a big band. Get ready to be amazing, thrilled, and excited. You want to play Monday Night Mass? Then it's easy. Order your packages online now before it all sold out. Get them online on www.mnmgrenada.com or call 415-6174. It's Amazing Colors Trilogy. Unlimited drinks, all night, laser focus, high power glow sticks, head pieces, frontline, VIP outfit, drawstring bag, and more. It's Amazing Colors Trilogy. Monday Night Mass. It will be amazing.
Again, guys, we thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of our program today. I just saw a comment. I want to just talk a little bit on Natasha Charles said, but that don't make no sense. I don't know which part of it that don't make no sense. So if you could just give me some more information. If the part where I said rehabilitation, to me that makes perfect sense. I believe that there should be some kind of rehabilitation to incarceration, right? Someone that get locked up, they should have some way, some sort of treatment of sorts while they're incarcerated, especially if they're going to come out in 10, 15 years or so, because they're going to come back out in society. The idea about it is to try to avoid them from getting back in there, right? Trying to avoid them to getting back in there. So let me see, to Natasha, if you want to call in and explain a little bit which part of it that didn't make much sense to you, I'd be happy to talk a little bit more about it. Oh, if it's the part with the young man who said that he was a former child molester, yeah, that was his story, because it is still facts that hurt people. People that are hurt and they are mentally, I'm no psychologist, clinical psychologist of any sort, but people who go through traumatic experience, very traumatic experience, oftentimes they turn around and perform, in some cases, not in all cases, the same to other persons, right? We've seen it before. It's not new. What have to happen is that person have to be ready to accept the fact that they are sick. It's a illness, guys. It's a illness. It is essentially an illness. When someone could look at a young child are running around and playing with toys and feel somehow attracted to them in a sexual way, that is sick. No, it is a sickness. It's a sickness that you can't see. It's not like they bleed into the eye or they have a big cut coming down the chest and you could see blood. No, you can't see it physically on them, but their mind is warped. Their mind is not functioning. They have no rational, they can't rationalize. It's hard for them to rationalize. You know, sometimes you could do something, right? And something is in the back of your head is telling you, nah, don't go that far. Hold back on this a bit. Or don't do that. Hold back a bit. You see that little thing in the back of your mind that does tell you to do that? That's irrational. That's like they say, like a little man on your shoulder telling you, oh, don't do this because you might get locked up for it, or don't do this, you might get this for it, or just something that is irrational. Some people don't have that little voice in the back of their head. Some people don't have that voice at all, right? They can't rationalize. They just can't put things into perspective. If something happened, they act. That's it. No rationalization. They have no stops, no blocks. They just do, and they don't think about the repercussions of what they're doing. They don't. But these people, guys, they are really ill. They are sick. And the problem that a lot of us have in the Caribbean, is that the many times some people decide, okay, they're going and see a shrink or talk to a psychologist, it's because they say, oh, this and that. Nah, sometimes you have to go and talk to a shrink, man. You have to talk, tell your stories. We're so pent up with anger, and we take it out on the children, we take it out on our wives, we take it out on, and some women take it out on their husbands. And that's a fact. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'll close by saying this, right? Final words. In this particular case right here, I'm saddened for the mother of the young child. I'm saddened for that mother because I believe that that young child's life will change and change forever. He would need a lot of intervention, a lot of assistance going forward. And I hope that the appropriate jurisdiction take it upon themselves to help that young child and the mother go through life. It's going to be difficult going forward. It's going to be difficult going forward. But it's a good first step. It's a good first step. And I'm appealing to the powers that be on the island, guys. I'm hearing stories from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a lot of stories. I'm hearing stories from Trinidad. I'm hearing stories from Jamaica. I'm hearing stories from Grenada. I'm hearing stories, guys. Truth and the fact is, we need to take it seriously. We need to take it seriously. The children are the future of our nation. The future. They are the ones that are going to lead us. They are the ones that are going to be the doctors, the lawyers, the politicians, the nurses. They are the ones that are going to be presiding over us. When we're in our old people home, they are the one that will preside over us. And the example that we set right now is how they would grow up to be. That is how they would the thought process, their life. Think about if we have a whole generation of children that's abused or taken advantage of. What kind of people that we're going to have presiding over us in the next couple of years? We have to think about that. We have to think about that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We thank you so much. Don't forget, Ride Along Live is where everyone have a story to tell. Yeah, where everyone have a story to tell. And we're not afraid to break the big stories, as we did in many times. People getting locked up, people getting fired, people getting moved, people getting replaced because of a lot of the hard work that we do right here on Ride Along. So if you have a story to tell, call us and let's send your story viral. Let's make a change, all right? Let's make a change, serious change, and that's why we're here. Ride Along Live, where everyone have a story to tell. I would like to say thank you to all of our team here at Ride Along, to our producers, our senior producer Lois JJ, to our moderators Kibbs, Gail, Deanne Fraser, in the studio with me, Jacoby George. Thank you so much, everybody at Team Ride Along. We say good night. Catch you guys again tomorrow.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
One of the region's biggest cultural events returns.
Let's go sail it, carnival now.
CRF, the Carrico Regatta Festival 2022, July 22nd to August 1st. Keeping the tradition alive while adjusting to the new normal. Be part of the experience with the grand launch on Friday, July 22nd. Live band music, awesome entertainment at the tennis court. Thursday, July 28th, the Regatta Night Cruise. Shades of Blue. Friday the 29th, we head to Windward for the trial races, yacht race, and the big night welcome party. Saturday 30th July, it's the Round the Island boat race and Blackout, the Soca edition, Hillsborough Tennis Court. Sunday the 31st, boat races, on-show activities, live band at the Esplanade. Then on Monday, it all culminates with the final boat races, on-show activities, donkey race, and greasy pole. Prize giving and the closing ceremony with live band and entertainment at the Esplanade. CRF Carrico Regatta Festival 2022. Sail by day, party by night. For more info, explore Carrico and Pini Martinique, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook page, or contact any member of the committee.
I don't care about what they say. Just rest it down in the past. Keep the millie away. No, I can't stress about that. I'm booking a solo flight. Don't give me nobody pass. See if you don't like my style, I can't stress. Get busy. Dang dang dang, nigga the ganga dang. If you have good energy, come and let we jam. Dang dang dang, nigga the ganga dang. If you have good energy, come and let we jam. Dang dang dang, nigga the ganga dang. If you have good energy, come and let we jam. Dang dang dang, nigga the ganga dang. I can't stress about people. Stop depending on people. You have to do what is right for you. Choose happiness over evil. No, I ain't saying that everybody bad, but look out for the backbiters. Them acting skills is 10 out of 10, but I can't stress about that. Don't care about what they say. Just rest it down in the past. Keep the millie away. No, I can't stress about that. I'm booking a solo flight. Don't give me
Only red event of Spice Mass Package Show. Sunday, July 31st, Rainbow City Sunday. Rainbow City Sunday. Elimus Gilbert Seydu and the Spice Style International Auto Rentals welcomes you to Package Show on Grenville Bus Terminal. Rainbow Sunday. Specky has invited twice-time soca monarch of Trinidad, Ronnie McIntosh. Ronnie McIntosh. And 3 times Vincy Road March winner, Godfrey Dublin. Gates open at 9. Showtime midnight. Most of Grenada's top acts will be featured, including a performance of a lifetime by the Hitman himself. Tickets are $50. More at the door. Tickets available at Max's Bar and Bogozo Barbershop in Grenville. Calico's in Sutels, Licks and Bites in Gore, St. David's Pharmacy, and Chucky by the Bus Terminal. Sunday, July 31st, Grenville Bus Terminal. And fellas, it's the only show in Spice Mass where you can bring your wife and the side chick.
Well, it's on right along, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess you call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Right along live, I mean, yeah, it's a real deal.